From two dirty painters to multiple seven-figure business owners, I'm Redion.
And I'm Karmelo.
And we'll be giving you guys the easier secrets to take your trade business to the next level.
From crazy stories to proven strategies, get ready to supercharge your business with us.
Welcome to the Dirty Painters Podcast.
All right, so in today's episode, we wanted to discuss a little bit of the challenges that we believe most painting contractors and probably a lot of tradespeople in general are facing. These challenges can occur whether you're early on in your business venture or still struggling with down the road. Let's get right into it.
All right.
Seasonality. So to explain it into simple terms, you're good throughout the year a little bit, but then winter comes around and you're at home for 1 to 2 months. I know we've experienced that firsthand in our first or even a little bit on the second year of business. So talk to us a little bit about that.
So especially when we're in Michigan, which there's very harsh winters and then things slow down. I mean, even in Florida, things slow down a little bit around the winter time, holiday season. So what we experienced the first years in business, like everybody's busy in the summer. There's always work in the summer and spring. But when things hit around, I think I would say from beginning of November until end of February, things traditionally slow down for us in the beginning. And then it's a common issue for a lot of trades businesses out there. So a lot of people will blame the cold, they'll blame the holiday season, people not wanting to do things, but it's only your fault. It's not the snow's fault. It's not the holiday season fault. It's your fault because you are not being proactive to make sure you have those projects lined up. You didn't do your due diligence. You didn't put the work in to generate those projects. You didn't spend enough money in marketing. And then now you're slow and you're blaming it in outside factors. But you have full control. And we are here to attest to that. We haven't had, since we started doing the things that we're going to go over today, we haven't had a slow winter, or we haven't had any slow seasons. We don't slow down. That's the thing. Once we start doing things the right way, we haven't slowed down.
Yeah, and we can attest to that by the fact that our January and February of 2024 have been one of our biggest months to date.
Literally,
our business life.
Like record-breaking months in February, and we only had 29 days. So I was looking at our numbers the other day for February. I was like, holy smokes. And then let's take it back like 3-4 years ago. We're like sitting home. We can keep guys busy. We're having guys paint our own houses so we could keep them busy.
Yeah.
Because that's a issue you're going to face. You're not going to be able to retain your employees. You're not going to have them busy. They're going to leave you. I mean, you might be a great guy. They might love working for you. But if you don't have work to keep them busy and keep those checks coming in every week, they're going to leave. Yeah. So no hard feelings.
That is a big struggle to retain those employees, and it's hard for you to keep them busy.
Yeah.
But they got to pay their bills too. So you want to go over a few of the things that we did different, or you want me to start us off?
Yeah, start off.
So how did we deal with this and how do we make it happen is we diversified our services. We included cabinet refinishing, high-end finishes, tile work, LVP floor installation, finished carpeting, and finishing work. All of our big ticket jobs have been a combination of all of these products and also painting.
So one thing that I want to emphasize on is when you slow down, especially a lot of painting companies that they slow down the winter, it's because they only offer interior and exterior painting. And if you're dealing with seasonality, obviously exterior painting is off the books because it's cold out, you can't paint, and you only are left with one opportunity, interior painting. So when you only have one opportunity to generate work, obviously it's going to be less. So what's your responsibility as a business owner is to create more opportunities for your business to generate work. And that's one thing that we did. We weren't always doing tile. We weren't always doing LVP floors, backsplashes, even cabinets. We didn't know how to paint cabinets for the first 2 years in our business. So that's one thing that we're like, hey, if we want to stay busy, keep those guys busy, we have to diversify. We have to look into other opportunities. So we took all these things that Karmelo mentioned, and we added more opportunities because you're going to get more leads and you're going to get more work. And also, like you said, the bigger tickets are going to be the ones that you're bundling up a bunch of work.
Yeah, expanding your services also helps when a client is doing all this remodeling and is dealing with one contractor instead of dealing with 3 or 4. because a lot of things can get lost in translation.
That's why a lot of times I'll go bid a full renovation, and then people love that they're only gonna be dealing with me and my team. They're not gonna be dealing with the tile contractor. They're not gonna be dealing with the flooring contractor. They're not gonna be dealing with the carpenter, the painter. All falls down to one contractor, and it's easier for them, and it's easier to project manage, and the things get done way more efficiently that way. And then you can use a bunch of sales incentives, like, hey, I'll bundle it up. Like, this is what it's gonna cost if you do only the painting with me. This is what it's gonna cost if you only do the tile with me. But if you bundle up all the services, I'm gonna throw you a sweet number to make the deal too good to not to say no. So those are another mean of creating more work, because you can help the customer save money, you keep your guys busy, and then you just get the whole job, and then those will turn out to the bigger tickets.
Everybody's happy at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Because we've run into many issues at times where we'll be doing the tile work and the painting, but another guy is doing the carpentry and we're waiting for him so we can get on with the painting. So we're playing this game of, hey, let me text the homeowner, see what his carpenter says, and then the homeowner texting me back to where we can get everything situated.
another selling point that you can use is like, hey, when I'm handling the whole project, the timelines fall on me. I don't have to wait for anybody. I make sure the guys are there where they need to be. I make sure they meet the deadlines, and I make sure I deliver on time. But if you're gonna have your own tile guy, if you're gonna have a different flooring guy, different carpenter, I cannot guarantee I'm gonna be able to meet the timeline, because there's a sequence that needs to happen for the painting or for everything. Some things need to get done first. Like, for example, you have to demo the tile first, then you have to do the painting, then you have to do installation, and then you have to add baseboard, you have to add shoe molding. So me, I'm not gonna wait around for the guys, because most contractors, they're notoriously unorganized. They never meet deadlines. They're never on time, or they get overstretched. And that's another way that we outperform a lot of our competition, is because we're always on point. We make it happen. If we say it's gonna be done in 10 days, it's gonna be done in 10 days no matter what. But if I'm having external factors that are affecting that, for example, other contracts I'm dealing with, and they get pushed behind, they fall behind, then I cannot guarantee my deadlines. I cannot guarantee my timeline is gonna be done when I say it's going to be done, because it's not up to me. So that's a good selling point you can use to the customer. Hey, if I'm handling the whole thing, it's going to get done. But if I'm dealing with multiple contractors that you're hiring out because you want to save a couple bucks, then I cannot guarantee it, because if the guy takes 2 weeks to come back and put the baseboards in, I cannot paint and finish the walls, because it interferes with my SOP.
Yeah. And something else that we implemented that I really like is we targeted different markets. So commercial painting for businesses or remodeling services are nearly throughout the year for them. And the better time for them to take care of all that is when they're also a little bit slow. So in the winter, like our engineering up in Michigan, we took care of their interior painting
Yep.
during their slow season. And that was a big, big commercial job.
Yeah. So a lot of businesses, again, not only trades business slow down in the winter or holiday season, other businesses slow down too. So that's a good opportunity for you to go in, make those key relationships, reach out to those project managers, or like facilities managers, or whoever is responsible for hiring out the contractors, and be like, hey, I know you guys. Or, and you know what I do with Walker?
Mhm.
Because we worked through when they were shut off. I'm like, hey, I know you guys needed painting. You reached out in the past. We'll work while you guys are closed to get it done, so we're not interfering and disturbing your day-to-day operations. And that's what got me that job, because the guy was like, what was his name?
Brad.
Brad. So he's like, damn, you guys gonna work? I was like, fuck yeah, we'll work. Christmas, New Year's, we'll make it happen. And that's how I got that job. It was like $150,000 big commercial job. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna be slow. Let me get it. Let me give you a discount. Let me give you a sweet deal. And then also, I'm not interfering with your day-to-day operation. So you're not gonna have to shut down your assembly line for me to paint your dry fall ceilings. And then that way it's a win-win. I keep my guys busy, you save money, and you don't disturb your day-to-day operations.
And then another one, build key relationships, which you just touched up on this. And I know you're really good at building those key relationships. How did you start doing that
So
originally?
going back to what I said, it's not because it's the snow's fault and the holiday season fault that you're not busy. It's your fault. So you're not doing your due diligence. Key relationships is doing your homework. It's doing your due diligence as a business owner to generate that work and put yourself in front of people, put your business in front of people. So one thing that I did big time, I still do it sometimes, but now we're at the point where we don't have to do it, but we still, keep it fresh, keep ourselves in shape on that. What I would do is I would create email lists and then text lists. And I would just go online or on Instagram. I would find every single designer, every single realtor, every single GC, every single builder, uh, property managers, facilities managers, anything that could generate me work. And all I would do is I would just shoot them a text like, hey, this is Radion from Olympian Painting. I was wondering if you have any painting projects that you would like to get done during the season or during the winter
Nice.
season, because that's traditionally when we slow down and we can offer really good prices and incentives to get any project that you might have um, that need to get painted or renovated or whatever. And then that's how I would get my foot in the door. And also they were like, "Oh yeah, I'll keep you in mind. We'll do whatever. We'll let you know if you have something going on." Then I would be like, "Okay, sounds good." I would let them simmer. Like I would not.
Let it sit.
I would not be like, "Hey, do you have any projects for me?" Hey, you cannot be annoying when you try and do key relationships and build those key relationships. You cannot be begging for work. You just shoot your shot one time, you put yourself into their mind, and then you make touches. For example, I would like their posts, I would comment on one of their posts, I would like their story, and then once a month I would send them an email. So like I said, I would build this huge email list. It's very easy. You just go on Google, just type whatever designers, realtors near me, and then all the information is online. And then you just put them on an email list and you send them emails, not begging for work, but giving value. Like, for example, for realtors, like, hey, here's how you can sell a house faster by painting it, changing the floors, giving them value on the emails instead of like, hey, do you have any work for me? I'm slow. Please give me work. Don't be a beggar. Like, that's such a turnoff. But give them value, put them on an email list, and then try to make it natural. Don't be like, hey, don't only hit them up when you need work. Uh, like make yourself known that you exist by, like I said, liking their posts, commenting, praising their work. If they sold a house, that was very strategically done from our part in the beginning to not come out as, hey, we're fucking slow. Give us work. That's one way that I still teach like a lot of my consulting clients. I tell them like, hey, that's how you do key relationships. And we're facing when your businesses, we see that when they try to do key relationships without guidance, that's what they do. And I have many examples of guys doing it lately. They just beg. They're like, "Hey, do you have any projects?" I'm like, "Bro, you cannot go and beg the designer. She's gonna block you. Stop being annoying."
Yeah, there's very firsthand experiences of others trying to build key relationships like that.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
we can have a whole master class and course with like scripts and just. But my one tip when you're building key relationships would be just be natural. Don't come out as begging for work. Just try to provide value to your key relationship, and then the rest will fall in place. And it's not gonna be immediate. You cannot look for the instant gratification. It's gonna take time. Like they're not gonna trust you right away. But the more touches you make, the more rapport you'll build, the more trust you'll build. They'll keep seeing you. They'll keep knowing that you exist, and then eventually it'll lead into work and working with them. But you have to spread your seeds, hundreds of them, and then you have to wait for those seeds to develop and grow, and the trees to grow, and then you start eating the apples from the trees.
that's a really good analogy because when you did that outreach marketing,
Hmm.
that's what it's called, email, the text, it took a little bit of time for those seeds to grow and we can harvest them. And it was at a good time in the winter. So that's the
Yes,
best time because we had a lot of designer work once we started implementing our cabinet refinishing as well. That kept us busy throughout the winters, even up in Michigan.
but you have to start doing that work while you're busy. So you cannot, let's say you slow down in November, December, and you start doing that work in December, and then you expect to get work in December and January. You have to start doing your homework while you're busy. Let's say that's why I say it's always you have to be doing it when you try to grow your outreach, your key relationships to get to the point where you don't have to worry about work. You have to be doing that work from
Throughout.
throughout the year. Always, you always got to spread your seeds. Always got to make sure you're doing, let's say, 100 touches a month, 200, 300. The more you do, the more people you're going to go put your business in front of. And then eventually that work will start paying dividends.
Yeah, the main takeaway from this is what I've got from it is it takes time to nurture a good key relationship with
Yes.
any of the people of interest that you're
And
looking
I'll
to do.
use us as an example. Like when we came in Tampa, the first year we got zero work from key relationships because we just got into the market. People were building trust with us, were like seeing what we do, designers, contractors, property managers. But after the first year, after I did all my homework with the touches and like putting myself and putting out content and giving them value, then the second year was the floodgates open. We're like getting, and even now, like some of our designers, we do crazy numbers with them. That's why like it took time, even for us, that we came with an established business, a big social media following, good marketing. It still took time for us to build those key relationships. So it's a patience game. It's a long game. You cannot expecting like, oh, you're gonna send 100 emails and 100 texts today, and you're gonna get 20 jobs. No, it's not. That's not how it works. You do 100 touches every month, and then those eventually those 100 touches, two of them will start paying dividends down the road.
And you got to make sure once you build those key relationships, you keep them. So you got
Oh
to
yeah. Woo.
sweeten the deal a little bit more.
Hey, what's up, bro? You want a referral fee? That's how you hit them up.
Exactly.
Or you, like Carmelo said, you nurture those relationships. You can't just be a taker. You have to be a giver as well.
Exactly.
Because they're gonna get you one or two jobs, but if you're only taking from them and you're not giving anything back, then they'll be like, screw this guy.
Yeah.
I get him all these jobs and then nothing for me.
Yeah. I gave him $100,000 job. He won't even take me out to dinner or like
Yeah, or
$500 gift card or something like that.
buy me some Starbucks or some Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
But that's why we have a very, very strong referral program. And then that's if you're slow, and we're in March now, so everybody should be picking up. But do your homework, create a strong referral program, create a nice PDF, put all your services there, put why they should work with you, make it very clear why they should choose you over the other 2,000 people that are reaching out to them. Make a nice presentation and be like, hey, these are the services I offer. This is why I'll be a good asset to you. And this is why I'm not going to embarrass you in front of your customers. Because when you're building a key relationship, they're putting their trust in you that you're not going to let them down in front of the custom or other customers because they're referral. So a lot of people, they refer contractors and then they get embarrassed because the contractor doesn't show on time, does a shit job, is a pain in the ass to deal with, horrible communicator. So those are some of the points that you can stress out in your presentation. Be like, hey, key relationship. This is why you should choose me. I'm a good communicator. I deliver a good product. I have unmatched warranties, and I have a great referral fee. So we're not going to embarrass you for your customer. You're going to look good because you recommended a phenomenal contractor. And also, you're going to get your referral fee, whatever the incentive that you choose to do. We do a 7% referral fee for every job that we solve from key relationship. And then it works out great for us. So why 7%? Because that's our average cost for marketing to generate a job. For you, it might be different. I don't know. You might want to start with a $200 gift card, but it has to be something. It has to be, and then obviously with laws, and you have to double check what the realtor laws are. I know in Michigan you couldn't give anything out more than what
$200.
$200, but like in Florida, it's open game. So that's why like I'll double check with the laws before you start reaching people out and giving them money and be like, hey, make sure you're covered or you have all your bases covered, and then create your referral program based on the laws and based on what you want to offer to your key relationships. And then I cannot stress out enough the presentation. Do not just go reach out to them and you have nothing to show them. Have a nice clean cut presentation, showcasing your work, showcasing your company story, showcasing why they should work with you and why you'd be a good asset to their own business. Very important, guys.
I want to paraphrase a little bit on that when you said recommending them to their clients. Let's say if it's a realtor, but at that point, you create a sort of teamwork type of environment
Mm-hmm.
because they feel confident in recommending you. And we have a first-hand experience of this when we recommended an electrician once to a
Oh,
very trusted
woo.
client of ours, and they botched the job, and then we felt horrible about it, which
Story
we paid it out of
time.
our own pocket just
Story
to
time.
just to keep that key relationship.
Okay, so we're doing. Oh my god, it was such a good customer, phenomenal lady. One of my
Mhm.
friends from the gym recommended. It was her neighbor. She recommended us to her. Great people, very well sold job, beautiful work. The painting came out masterful. Like we did a phenomenal job on it. They were ecstatic, happy. It was great. And then they're like, "Oh, Radiant, do you know an electrician?" And then there was this guy that, he talked a big game on social media. He was like, "Hey, I'm the best," and all that. And he convinced me. I was like, he looks legit, nice trucks, nice tools, and all that. So I'm like, yeah, I do know an electrician. And it was the simplest job ever. Like I could have done it, but we're not licensed for electrical work. So I'm like, we could do it, but we're not licensed. So I'll just bring you a licensed electrician. And then we bring this guy. And then he brings three goons with him, fucking
Goons.
untrained people. And then, guys, so that project, we did everything painting, refinishing the floors. The floors came out so good. So the guy starts drilling. He had to do LED lights, the can lights. So he had to do a bunch of those. So, first thing, what he does, they walk in with the dirty boots, tools all over the floor. I'm like, bro, we weren't there. And the lady wasn't there. So they just walk into the project. They start cutting
The
hole.
drywall on the
They start
ceiling.
cutting holes in the drywall. Drywall dust falls over. Drywall falls on the
Insulation.
everything, and then the floors get dirty and dusty, and then specks of drywall start scratching them on the beautiful floors that we just refinished. And then the lady comes by like around lunchtime where they already did a bunch of fucking. I think they drilled like 20 LED holes, and lady just goes crazy. She's like, I literally just spent $20,000 to finish these floors. And like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And then what the goons do? They grab tarps and they put them right over the friggin' debris. And then they start walking on it, and the debris gets stuck, and then dragging rugs around, and the whole friggin' floor gets scratched. And then the lady just went crazy. And I had nothing to say. I was like embarrassed. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I've used in my jobs before. I never had this issue. And I felt so bad that we finished our floors again for free. And that was like, you know what? I'm never referring somebody to my customers unless they're like us. Like they've
Mhm.
proven track record, they've done high-end work, they just straight killers. And I've seen their work at other customers. And that was one of the stories of that we took a big hit. Other contractors would have been like, you know what, fuck it, man, it's not my fault, it's the electrician's fault. But we felt bad because we referred him to our customer, and then we're like, you know what, we gotta make this right. But a lot of people will worry about that because a lot of people don't have the means. Like us, we finished the floor, so it wasn't such a big hit. I mean, yeah, it was a loss, but fuck it, we did it to make things right. But for somebody else that didn't have the means, let's say a contractor that didn't know how to refinish the floors, he would have to source it out and he would have to spend way more money to make things right. Yeah, the guy just he finally finished the job. The job was not done. Then he was begging for money. I was like, bro, I'm like, you got 70%. I'm like, the rest of it, the lady didn't want to pay him. It was,
Quit while you're ahead.
yeah,
Take the Three Stooges with you and
yeah,
just get out of there.
like the fucking three
Yeah.
goons, untrained guys with, and
Yeah.
then how stupid they put the tarp right over the fucking debris.
Yeah. We take our recommending, we vet our vendors now way
Oh
more
yeah,
strictly.
way.
If we throw a name out there, you're confident that you're getting the Olympian equivalent of that industry.
Yep, exactly. And that's why it's very important to build that trust with the people that they want to recommend you because that's a fear that everybody has when they give out a referral to one of their customers.
Another challenge that a lot of people face in the industry is competition. How do you beat that and land the job yourself?
So, how do you outperform your competitors? Step one, have amazing branding, have amazing content. Make sure every time a customer searches you, they see your branding, they see the value they provide, they see your expertise. So, I think that would be not that not I think, but that's it for us. The first step. So when people go to Olympian page, they just don't see befores and afters. They see, they get knowledge. They see what primers we use. They see what processes we use. They see what machines we use. We explain the processes. We explain the techniques of application. We explain the materials. We explain the warranties. So I think that goes with the branding. And then also see clean cut. They see good guys working. They see amazing projects. So I think the branding and your online presence is vital to outperforming the competition. Because how I think social media works, it's like a storefront. So people will land on your storefront and then they'll see like your shop, like they look around, they see what kind of products you have, they see how how clean your store is. And then also another thing that I think social media is it's like an elevator pitch. So an elevator pitch is like if you were stuck in or if you're going up an elevator, you have 30 seconds to sell something to somebody. I think that's what social media is. So every time a customer lands on your storefront or social media page, you're giving them an elevator pitch. So I think that's what really does separate us from the competition. Step one is once they land on our page, they expect the best from the first post they see all the way down to like thousands of posts that we have. They always see good quality. Step one, branding, online presence. Step two, like we discussed on the previous episode, SOPs. How do you go in there and explain to your customer how you do things? Do you have an SOP? Are you organized? Are you knowledgeable about your materials? That's one a big selling point that I outperform everybody. I'm very thorough and knowledgeable about the materials that we use. And then you do the same when you go into a estimate. You explain to them every single little detail about the process, and then you hit them with the materials that we use. So that's another thing that I think separates us from the competition. And then you can implement your own sales process or business. It's be very thorough and explain to the customer about the SOPs and the process. It's going to build credibility and it's going to increase your expertise and value to them. They don't care. Then it's not like they're painters, and then but it showcases that you have expertise in what you're doing and you build trust on that.
Yeah, I love educating our potential clients because it gives them a basically lays out the game plan for them on what to expect. And I have a really good firsthand example of this. At one point, I was bidding a job where the homeowner brought three painters at the same time to do the estimate. So we all get there. The homeowner's showing us what to do and everything. The guys are just taking notes down, not asking any questions or anything, and then just gives them a piece of paper at the end. So that was the two guys. And then they asked me, like, hey, why aren't you writing anything down? And then that's when I bring my notebook out and I tell her, okay, so this is what you need done. What's the durability? So identify their wants and needs of their project, educate them on the process. Those guys didn't even tell them, like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I explained to her that, hey, this is what you should be expecting from us. This is these are the products that we're going to use. All those products come with a warranty. Uh, the traits of the products and the performance you're going to get out of them. And then just at the end, she just showed me both of those guys' numbers and told me, if you could be between those two numbers, I'm very confident with going with you. Told her we're going to be a little bit above those numbers, but for me to get it done right, this is what it will cost. And we landed that job.
Yep.
Just because we identified the wants and needs and she bought me, she didn't buy the product.
Yep.
You buy the customer service sometimes.
But also you built a lot of value by being the expert because that's our role. We're not there to sell them. We're there to educate them and showcase the expertise. And because a lot of people don't know about paint. So I think that was another thing that you did is like you built a lot of value in what you know and what you do. And then she was confident enough to go with you versus, and then she chose the highest price. And then that's a very commonality. We are all, not always, but like 80%, 90% of the time, we're the highest bid. But with all these things that we said, like the branding, showcasing expertise, educating our customer, also stressing out issues that might occur if they don't do things the right way. That's another thing that we do really well. It's like, hey, if you don't prime or if you don't do this or if you don't do that, it's gonna this is what it's gonna create, and you're gonna have issues with that. You it's not gonna be good. And then not that we're instilling fear, but we're educating them in what can happen if they don't do things the right way.
I don't have enough fingers to count how many times people have been like, you know what, you're little bit higher than others, but I really like you and I really like your company and what it stands for. So I'm confident in going with you.
And those are the clients that you want to work with. You want to work with customers that they appreciate the value that you bring to the table. You don't want to work with people who are like, oh, I just paint. You just gonna paint. You want to work with the people that appreciate the craftsmanship, appreciate the customer service, the communication. And also another thing that really will separate you from the competition is keeping your word. What I mean by that is when you say it's gonna be done in 10 days, make it happen to get done in 10 days. Don't be like, oh, guess what? It's gonna take 14 days. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. And I think that will really separate you from the competition. And then speed kills. When they reach out, let's say the lead comes in right now. They reach out, you're immediately responding to them. Like, hey, this is Radiant from Olympian Painting. I got your
Your request.
online request. How may I assist you today? Or you ask them question about the project. And then a lot of times people will be like, oh shit, that was fast. Do you have like a robot answering? I'm like, no, it's just me. Speed kills. And then you keep the speed running throughout the whole point of the sales process. So you're like, hey, I can be out there tomorrow. I can be out there whenever, but you have to make those touches fast. Then you go out there, you do the estimate, and then like, oh, how long is it gonna take for my bid to come out? And you're like, I'll price you out right now. Or if you have to give it some more thinking, like, hey, I'm going to my office right after here, and I'll put the numbers to you by the end of the day. And then why that is gonna separate you from the competition? Because the average contractor takes 4 days to send out an estimate, and some of them take longer. Some of them like they'll be like weeks, and the customer like, hey, did you have a chance to put that bid together for me? And I go, oh shit, I forgot, or like, yeah, I'm gonna get to it. And that's how you one way to separate. Like, make an immediate touch as soon as the lead comes in, schedule an appointment fast, and deliver an estimate fast as well. And also the production, like the production side. That's why we discussed in previous episodes. We don't schedule further than 3 weeks out because customers they don't want to wait around. They want to get things done fast. They want it now. So speed is gonna definitely separate you from the competition.
Yeah, it shows you're punctual or respectful and s- shows that you actually care about their time.
And
It's not like you don't
efficient.
give a shit about it.
And efficient
Hmm.
because if you get things done fast with high quality, then you're running an efficient business. And then people be like, okay, these are the guys. Look, they showed up on time, they delivered an estimate on time, they scheduled on time, and you're like, I'll pay a little bit extra to not go with a guy that took 5 days to get me an estimate. So speed will definitely help you outperform your competition.
And then something else I have in my notes here for your competition is identify your unique value proposition. For us, it's our craftsmanship, our exceptional communication, and our customer services. And also, we deliver a great product.
Yeah, I mean, product
So,
has to come first.
yeah,
I
of the
think
craftsmanship.
you can be a phenomenal communicator, you can be a phenomenal customer, you can be the nicest guy, but if your product is shit, then they don't care about all those things. If their job is not painted right, then they're not gonna care if you're a nice guy if you communicate effectively. So first, you have to deliver a high quality product. Then all these other things will come in and it'll separate you from the competition. Because there's really good painters out there that they don't do these things the right way. I know a lot of painters that are phenomenal craftsmen. They do incredible work, but they're really unorganized. They don't send out estimates on time. They don't do jobs on time. Their scheduling is all over the place. So they miss out on a lot of opportunities and they can't grow and scale or do more volume and make more money because of those things. So product comes first, and then those things will follow. And for example, like us, we also it's the unmatched warranties that we offer, and we don't a lot of times when we're selling it, we don't say a warranty, we say a personal guarantee from our brand. So that's a way that we differentiate that everybody's offering a warranty out there. Everybody that's painting, like, yeah, we'll give you a 10-year warranty, whatever. But us, how we differentiate from our competition is like, hey, we're gonna give you a personal guarantee from the Olympian brand If something goes wrong and it's our fault, we'll be there the next day fixing it. And we've had many times that things went wrong. I mean, we're not perfect. We do so much volume that eventually things will go wrong sometimes. But our way of taking care of it, not screwing around with the customer, like, hey, yeah, we'll have to reach out to the rep and blah, blah, blah. It differentiates us. Like, so the personal guarantee of Olympian holds more value than a warranty from any paint manufacturer out there. And then if you want to stress out the story that we had recently with the black cabinets,
The oh yeah.
yeah, that's a good
So
example.
so we had a new product that we started using. It passed our stress test surprisingly, but at one point, one of the jobs we did, it was having issues, and we weren't able to identify what issues they were. The manufacturer was taking forever to reach back to us, and we just took care of it immediately then and there. So we went, picked up the doors, stripped them over, started the whole process again, but with a different product that we trusted, and redid all that without telling the client, "Hey, I have to wait for the
Yeah,
manufacturer and all that," because they can't stay without a kitchen for weeks or a
yeah,
month.
yeah. No, and then I remember the guy texted me. He's like, "Hey, man, I really appreciate you taking this. I know you weren't expecting that. I know you guys are very highly professionals, but I appreciate you taking care of it like that." And I was like, that's why we do it. We could have been like, yeah, I'll have my sales reps come out and I'll make a warranty claim, and then it might take a month, and I'll get free material, and I'll wait for reimbursement. And no, we took the hit. We redid the whole kitchen with the products that we used before, stripped the whole failed product, and then boom, right in there. It took 2 days to fix it.
Yeah,
And then the customer's like, "Wow, I was not really expecting that, man." And I'm like, I was like, "Yeah, I told you the personal guarantee. It's the most important thing for us. If it's our fault or if it's the product's fault, we're gonna stand behind it, and then we'll deal with the manufacturer after."
and what he was really impressed with, which you showed me one of the texts, is the promptness and how quick you were to respond,
Yep,
and
right
you
then
took
and there.
action.
Yep. He texted me. He's like, "Hey, man, I don't think these cabinets. There was a few cabinets that were peeling and flaking because the product didn't stick properly." So I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "I'll be there next day." And boom, I was there the next day, identified the issue. I was like, my guys will be here tomorrow. We'll pick up all the doors. We'll redo the whole fucking job. I don't care. Whatever it takes to make it right. And the guy was like, wow, I was not expecting this. We still made money on the job, but we did things right. And I know us doing things right on our personal guarantee as our brand, eventually will pay dividends, because he's like, hey, he's going to refer us to his family, his friends. Like, this is the guys that you want to be doing work with, because not only they deliver a high quality product, but they stand behind it no matter what.
It's always better to take a hit instead of your brand to take a hit,
Yes,
because tarnishing your brand and what you've built, it's harder to rebuild than just losing a few $1,000s and redoing a kitchen.
exactly. It's better for your pocket to take a hit than your brand to take a hit.
Exactly.
Always.
Yeah, because at the end of it, when we everything was put back up, they just mentioned, because they probably have to go with new doors, they're MDF. So in
Yeah.
5 years' time, they mentioned, "Oh, we'll most likely go with you guys again because we love how you handle this and you're very professional."
Yep. So that doing the right thing with our personal guarantee not only separate us from the competition right then and there, but also we put a sit out when they're ready to fully remodel their kitchen, which could be $150,000 to $200,000 job. So that hit that your pocket took, it'll pay off, guaranteed, guys. When you do the right thing, good things happen. So we talked about speed, we talked about personal guarantee. How else can we separate ourselves from our competition? I think your overall sales presentation and the way that you present your product, the things that you help assist in your product presentation, like for example, like when you bring your SOPs to the estimates, when you bring the product education or the spec sheets, the data sheets, all that. I think it's another way, because a lot of people, like I said, they go in there with a little notepad, or Carmelo said his example, the other two estimators, and then they just take notes and they give you a price and they leave. But when you actually sit, like my main thing is before I even start my presentation, I'm like, hey, is there somewhere we can sit? And then we sit down, I open up all my stuff, whatever. If it's an interior, I'll open up my interior process, my product specifications, warranties, personal guarantees, and I'll go over with them page by page by page. And then every time I go, I'm like, hey, do you have any questions? Like, no, we can move on. Boom, next. So I think spending time with them and then educating them and actually sitting down and making sure they understand everything that's going to happen in their house separates yourself from the competition big time, because even us in the beginning we didn't do that. And then I mean we're closing, but we're not closing the high ticket jobs, we're not closing as much as we wanted. So once we start implementing those things, everything changed drastically. And then another thing that comes into the sales process is giving your customer options. So a lot of people, a lot of competitors, they'll go in there and they'll offer one price, versus us, we separate ourselves from the competition by going there and giving the customers options. Like, hey, I can do a decent job for X amount, or I can do a good job for X amount, or I can give you the best of the best for X amount. And then when you have those options and you give the customer showing what it costs and what you're gonna be doing for each option, then you're building value, because a lot of people, a lot of competitors out there, they're not gonna do that. They're gonna give out one price. And then I'm sure a lot of you watching, you you do that. You give one price. But when you're going there with options, then the customer is like understands what it takes to get each option done, and also understands the value and the cost to get it done.
Yeah, that also goes back to identifying the wants and needs
Yep.
of the client, because somebody that's going to have their forever forever home being painted, they don't want to go with a decent option. They
Yeah.
probably want to go with the best or the good. Or somebody that's going to stay there for the next 2 years, they probably don't want the best option where 2K polyurethane trim, all that stuff, level 5 on the walls.
Yep.
They probably want the good or the decent.
Yep. So identify wants and needs, like Carmelo said, and then be honest about it. So if a customer's house is in good shape, like say, for example, we're estimating an exterior, okay? I come to your house and then I look at it, I'm like, it's in pretty good shape. I'm like, I know you don't like the colors, but it's in good shape. So you're not gonna try and sell them the best option, full coat of primer and sealer, and then 2 coats of Emerald Rain refresh. Like, hey, you're fine if we just do 2 coats of duration, or 1 coat of primer and 1 coat of duration, so you don't have to overspend because your house is in great shape. And where you're honest like that, people subconsciously are gonna build trust in you because you're not trying to sell them. Especially when you go into like more expensive houses, like 2 million, $3 million houses, and then slimy salespeople, they'll try and get as much money as they can. People will pick up on that. They might not pick up like consciously, but subconsciously they'll be like, oh shit, this guy's trying to screw me. He sees it's a nice house, he sees a Ferrari in the garage, and he's like trying to get me. So don't be a slimy salesperson. Care about your customer honestly. Be like, hey, dude, I know you can afford it, but don't need the best package. Just stick with the good one and you'll be fine. And those jobs, every time I've done that, especially in like an expensive house, a heavy hitter client that makes shit ton of money, they always went with me just because I was honest. I was like, hey, you don't need to be overspending. You're good at it. Or you get somebody like Balding, he's like, you know what, man, I don't give a fuck. Just give me the best of everything. I don't care how much it costs. And like, okay,
Those are the best.
yeah, I'm like, okay, fine. So be an honest salesperson, and then pe- people will appreciate that.
They will catch up on it.
Yeah. Another like very important question that I want you, after you hear this episode, I want you to be asking your customers is like, after you do your presentation, after you build rapport, after you do everything, I want you to ask your customer, what's your biggest worry about getting this project done? And then let them talk. When you ask that question, it's gonna show that you care about not their feelings, but about what can go wrong. Because like, oh, they don't get that question asked. I guarantee you, every estimate they got, nobody's gonna ask that. So when you ask that, it shows that you care. It also shows that you're gonna be on top of things, and then that you're gonna eliminate those fears that they might have. So, for example, a lady will be like, "Oh, I'm worried about my cabinets shipping and not being durable, and I'm not gonna be able to wipe them off." So, boom, right there and there, I have my answer ready. But I'm like, "Yeah, Mrs. Homeowner, you're worried about that, and that's very normal. But look what I have with me." And boom, I'll pull out my cabinet sample and I'll put it under the sink and like start running water on it. Look how the water repels. You'll never have to worry about not being able to wipe these cabinets off because of the durability of the product. And then when you ask those questions about what's their biggest worry, you're gonna identify those worries, and then you're gonna be able to solve their worries or however you want to word it,
Reassure them that
reassure them that's not going to happen. And that's a big selling point for me as well. I do it every time my estimates. I'm like, what's your biggest worry about getting this project done? And you get different questions like, oh, meeting the timeline, not getting it done properly, the quality of the work. And a lot of people it might be the price, it might be too expensive to afford it. So it depends on the answer. It depends on their answer. You're gonna have a different approach. But that question is key, and customers really appreciate it. I haven't had one customer be like, "Oh, I don't have any worries." Every time somebody had a worry or something that they were like anxious or stressed about not going right in this project.
I mean, that's what they're calling you for. I have a first-hand experience of what you just said, which was 2 weeks ago at the Apollo Beach shop, and the fact that we implement educating our client throughout the whole process. And once we finish up, they basically just told me you answered every question I had. I didn't even get a chance to ask you, and the fact that you brought a sample with you to show me and reassure me that the product you're gonna use is gonna hold up. I really trust you, and I'm very happy to go forward with you right there
Boom.
on the spot. And I didn't even have to throw a number out there.
Yep. Just imagine you can sell jobs without giving a price.
Yeah, that's
Just
the
ask them
best.
for a blank checkbook and be
That's
like,
the
"I'll
best
fill
feeling.
it in
Yeah,
it."
yeah.
So yeah, to like summarize a little bit, we said speed, we said branding and online presence, sales presentation, and overall appearance when you show up to a customer's house, speed of getting the project done, and then producing the job.
And the most important, good quality product.
Good quality product, yeah. That's the most important stuff. And then you do those things. Like I say a lot of times on my social media posts or like my stories, I'm like, there's no competition. Competition is irrelevant. When you do all those things the right way, you don't have competition. It's like for us, like, oh, your competitors. I'm like, bro, I'll go in a market where everybody quotes $2 a square foot and I'll sell for $8 a square foot just because the way I deliver the product, the quality of the product I deliver, the overall customer experience, it's unmatched. That's why I say I don't have any competitors. And then the customers that they gonna appreciate the value, they're gonna go with me no matter what. They're not gonna look at the price. They're not gonna look about matching the price with other guys. They're just gonna go with it because they get sold on the brand, the company, and then us. And even our sales reps, they do a great job. And then it makes our sales reps' life easier when they have the strong branding to sell because they're backed by a very strong brand. So when you get to scale and you get to the level that we are right now, by doing that groundwork with your branding, your SOPs, all that, all those ways to differentiate yourself from a competition,
They add up.
they add up. And then when you're at scale and you have salespeople, it's gonna make their
Their
life
life easier.
easier to sell because nobody is gonna sell like me and Carmelo. I know that for a fact. Nobody can sell like us do, but we cannot be at every estimate. So we have to have our estimators and salespeople s- sell the same way that we do, but also assist them with our branding to get a job done and close.
Yeah,
That's why,
at the end of the day, you're your own competition. And after every booked appointment that's or consultation, I always like to reflect on what I did right, what I could have tweaked it and do better, or if I did everything right, or if there's anything else I should add to my sales pitch or presentation.
correct.
And that's something we also recommend our salespeople to do. It's okay if you don't land the job. Every job is not meant to be closed. Just reflect back on what you said, give yourself some constructive feedback, and on to the next one.
Couldn't have said that better, man. Shit.
What a reaction.
Yeah, that was spot on. That was money. Yeah. Even if you lose a job, a lot of times the jobs that you lose are the best jobs. You don't want them anyways. But like Carmelo said, take a lesson from every job that you lost. You might skip a step on your sales process, or you might not explain something good, or your price might have been too high. Really look at your numbers, do a self audit, and boom, right there, you got value from losing that job. And then it's gonna make you better for the next one.
Yeah. And if you did everything right, even including the price, and the client just didn't go with you, it just wasn't meant to be. You're on different
Move
opposite ends
on.
of the spectrum.
Yeah, move on. Sometimes,
Don't fret about it too much because a lot of our salespeople they get I don't want to say angry, but they get upset that oh man, why did I land this? I think I did everything pretty good and all
yeah.
that. But no, some people,
Sometimes we're just not a good fit.
yeah,
Yeah. So
Don't fret about it too much.
So I think that wraps up a lot of like the things that we want to talk about, like the challenges and also how to outperform your competition. Work on outperforming your competition and work to make your competition irrelevant. So like Carmelo said, your own self is your competition. So if you work on yourself, work on your systems, work on all those things that we said you have to do the right way, you're not gonna have competition. And then you're gonna have premium clients, you're gonna have high quality jobs, you're gonna have high ticket jobs, and then you're gonna have a thriving business. Just focus on yourself, man. And then don't look at around our other guys. Don't try and beat their prices. Just stay in your own lane and then just do the things right, and the marketplace will reward you.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, guys. So this will wrap up this episode of the Dirty Painters podcast.
Be sure to follow our business on Instagram at Olympian Painting and also our personal pages, Olympian_Redion, Olympian_Karmelo, and also the Dirty Painters podcast Instagram page.
If you guys got any value from this episode, please make sure you share it with a fellow painter or tradie. Until next time, this is Redion,
And I'm Karmelo.
signing off from the Dirty Painters podcast.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.